Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bellefonte Borough Council work session. No council action, making motions or approvals is taken during this session. We would first like to welcome Mr. Dave Lomison, who is with the Center County Transportation.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I come to try to give some insight on our service and what it does for Center County. I am the Director of Transportation for Center County government. We good, Don? Okay. Very good. Anyways, we provide complimentary paratransit service for all residents of Center County, no matter where you live. I grew up in Orviston, and we've hauled people out of Orviston many a times. We go to Pine Glen, we go to Rebersburg, and all the hinterlands out there and the outskirts. So it's a pretty big challenge for us. Our service area is larger than the state of Rhode Island. And that comes from former Commissioner Keith Beerley, always told me that. That's how big Center County is, if you want to put it in a geographical term. So I know that I have drivers that put 250 to 300 miles a day traveling throughout the county, hauling people. So it is a big task. I have 24 drivers out on the road. Most days I have at least 20 transporting clients. Then there's days that we do home delivered meals and other things. We do mail runs within the county departments from all the offices, so that's pretty much a full-time job for one individual. But I'm blessed with 34 wonderful staff people that do a tremendous job on behalf of Center County government. So it just, I think it's important in what we do. We take a lot of pride in what we do, and at the end of the day, we walk away and usually feel that we've done everything we could possibly do that day. There are days that maybe we didn't get everything accomplished, but that's in anything you do in life. So, but what I'm here for more than anything is to let you know that we can provide service for anyone in Center County, whether there's a funding source that may help support that or not. You don't, obviously, if it's not a funding source, if there's no funding sources, then it's more expensive. But we do provide service that's open to any resident of Center County who wishes to use it. And we contract with various entities throughout the county. Examples are Skills Incorporated, Community Services Group, CVIM, the Volunteer Medicine Facility, they contract with us directly, and basically any entity that needs to. I do work for Baldwin Area High School from time to time, transporting students. In particular, if they're placed out of the district somewhere and they can't get to the school, we've contracted with them because, as you all know, there's a shortage of buses sometimes to do all this. So they direct contract with us and basically do the same thing that I'm willing to offer to anyone, provide services at the cost that we charge to operate. But I'm more here to answer questions than anything and try to, explain anything that maybe you don't understand or need to understand better.
Mr. Lomison, you've been here a couple of times and done a wonderful job describing and presenting your services specifically for Bellefonte Borough residents.
Yes.
Mr. Lomison, what, if any, are the drawbacks or problems that you see with our residents using your transportation as opposed to the previous provider?
Well, I think where we're looking at is those individuals that sort of fall between the cracks, that don't have a funding source. And right now they have an opportunity for a reduced rate ride to certain destinations from destinations, but they don't have medical assistance, they don't have, they're not aged enough to be covered with senior status. So if you take the 18 to 59-year-olds that just don't have enough to get them there or don't have means of transportations, they would be the ones that we would be looking to serve, I think, and in establishing an agreement with the borough, if we should do so, that the borough would help fund that. And giving you what I gave you is just a fair breakdown of potentially setting something like that up based on miles, yes.
Do you feel that that would be a great deal of the riders that you would provide to Bellefonte Borough? Do you feel they'd be in that age group, or do you feel they'd be more in the categories that would get a reduced ride through one way or the other? Which is your feeling with all of your years of doing it?
Well, I think that we have a mix of both. I think there are probably some out there that are utilizing the current service that's offered that probably do qualify for my service. So they would utilize their funding sources before they would utilize a borough funding source. And I do feel that there's a mix of both. It's hard to judge that because again, I don't know names in particular, but I know that we have a lot of crossover clients now that a lot have come to us since there's been changes in the services, but it's a hard one to judge. It truly is. It's almost, you won't know till you try type of thing, but I don't see an overwhelming number of people that's not going to be served or wouldn't be served or would put a burden on us. I think we can easily absorb the amount of people that it would probably bring right now based on information that I've been provided from Catago and the Catafo.
Right, they would still get a ride.
Yes.
It would just come down to whether or not
Right.
it would be subsidized.
Right.
In one way or the other.
Right.
Is that really what
Correct.
it's coming
Yes.
down to this? Like,
Yes.
no one is going to be, through your company, I guess, let's just get right to it. No one is going to be refused a ride.
Right.
Just a matter of how
Right.
much that person's going to pay for their ride based
Correct.
on their circumstances,
Yes.
right? Fair
Yes.
enough?
Yes.
And that could be a very low number.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And the things that I've shared with both Joanne and Debbie a few times, we've met and talked, and even Councilman Johnson, these people, we won't know till we establish it, and we would want you to set the criteria. So if you're 18 to 59 and you have no funding source, you would determine that if it was to go to work, we'll take them 5 days a week if they need to go. If it's to go to the grocery store, maybe you limit that to once a week instead of allowing them to go every day. Because we do have people, believe it or not, that ride the vans every day to go somewhere, even if they don't need to. And they fall within the categories that they're allowed to do that. So, but if the borough's footing the bill or part of the bill, then you would want to set some guidelines that they would follow. We can easily establish their boundaries where they live by our system that we have. When we put somebody in the system, it pins them at their address, so we know if they're living in the borough or outside the borough. So that's pretty easy. We establish the rate structure as we prepare it, and if it's a copay involved of $5 per ride, just using that for terminology now, but if that's what you establish, then it sets it up that way, so they know that when they get on the van, they must pay the money. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much. That was great.
Yes, Dave, thank you very much for coming this evening. Based on your brochure and the handout for this evening, you're still indicating that 4 p.m. is the ideal late end-of-day pickup time. I'm concerned about people who work more or less traditional hours and need to get picked up later than that.
That's sort of where I'm at right now, but that would again be determined by the need. If there's an apparent need that would warrant the extra time, then we could probably extend that, but there are some things I have to do to get that approved, obviously.
Okay.
I use 4 p.m. as a guideline, but we can technically probably go to 4:30 in most cases, unless you're coming from Phillipsburg to Bellefonte or something like that. That gets a little lengthy, but State College to Bellefonte, we can often go to 4:30 or so. We do have individuals now that live in Bellefonte, work in State College. We pick them up at 4 o'clock, and get them home, and we're off the road by 5 or so. But we have to establish our guidelines per our agreements with the state,
Right.
and the county approves that. So, you know, we've definitely expanded it. I can remember 20-plus years ago when I first came on board, you know, we stopped at 3 o'clock with appointments. So we do expand it, and if it's a need that can't be met any other way, we'll meet it. We won't let anybody hanging.
Okay.
Nope.
And I understand that if somebody does work, say, 5 days a week, they can basically set up a
Yes.
standing reservation
Excuse me.
that
Yeah.
is in place until they change it.
Absolutely. We have what we call standing orders. If you work the same time 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 1 day a week, or whatever, you can establish that, and you never have to call it in again unless you're changing it. It's automatic. The only thing we ask is that if you're not going to take the trip, you cancel ahead of time, so we know that, and don't make an unnecessary trip.
Right.
That we can obviously fill that seat with someone else if needed.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Following up on Deb's question about people who work, they do say a 9 to 5, and you get like 4 people who need that 5 o'clock pickup. Could you work that into your schedule?
I would certainly look at that. I won't promise you anything because I do have to go back and get approval to do that, but that certainly makes it more worthwhile for me,
Okay.
where I
So
can
when
justify that.
when we're advertising, we can work with you after the meeting tonight to work that out and let people know that this is a flexible issue for the end of the day.
Potentially.
Yeah, okay.
One thing I find in the people that I do transport to and from work is when they explain that they're using public transportation and this is the time limit they have, most employers are working with them. So I can much easier get them there earlier than bring them home later. So that's, we do start earlier with our dedicated runs that we do every day. So we can start earlier than 8 o'clock if need be. But again, we have to have guidelines we establish and run with. But
Yeah, we'd have to just wait and see what the need is. You know,
Right,
we can talk
right.
about
Yeah.
6 people needing a ride home at 6, you know, but we got to wait and see. Right?
Correct.
I mean, there could be no need for that. And at this point, you're not really anticipating, with as long as you've been operating at these hours throughout the entire county, which
Yeah.
includes how many municipalities, right?
37 municipalities.
37
correct.
municipalities.
Yes.
These hours, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., have worked, generally speaking,
Yeah.
pretty good.
There are times that
Sure,
people
yeah.
run late at appointments, and
Yeah.
as I said, we never let anybody hanging.
Right.
If you're at an
So-
appointment, I've had drivers wait till 7 at night to bring someone home from a medical appointment.
Good.
That's just what we do. Obviously, it's not what we want to do, but when it's needed, we do it, you know.
Yeah, nobody wants to be out that late,
No,
right? Thank you.
no. Yep.
Dave, assuming the council is going to vote on this tonight in a positive way, how soon could this project be implemented? I'd like our Beeline riders a transition time between now and the end of June to make the transition and understand the scheduling.
Well, I would think
Difference.
that, you know, something could get started probably in the next few weeks. However, I would encourage you to set your criteria before we start anything. You know, we don't want to do that while we're moving forward. You would have to establish the limitations, if any, for non-medical or non-work trips. How often can somebody utilize it for that?
So we would need to prioritize
Well, yeah, I
the
think,
trips and the whatever we
Yeah,
set
trip
as the threshold
purpose,
for the
yes.
out-of-pocket.
yes, the trip
Okay.
purpose, and establish what you're going to go with as far as an out-of-pocket expense for the consumer, correct?
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Full disclosure, I happen to be part of the program working for you,
Yes,
not driving people, but delivering meals.
right.
What needs to, council or borough residents need to be reminded that this is something we're trying to do. There will be a learning curve. You know,
Oh, yeah.
this hasn't been done anywhere except for Bellefonte right now. So adjustments will need to be made. It won't be perfect the first time. So I'm sure Mr. Lomison will work with the borough trying to perfect it. The other thing that's important is this service will take us anywhere in the county, not just Bellefonte Borough. And at this time, Spring Township is not involved with CATA. So if you have a ride with the B line in Bellefonte, you cannot go to Spring Township. And this service provides that, along with Benner, or the whole county. And it is door-to-door service. It is not where you go and stand at a bus stop.
Right.
This is where you make arrangements for a pickup time at your home or at your place of business. And the van parks there
Yep.
to retrieve you. I look at it as a win-win situation for Bellefonte. Adjustments will be needed, I'm sure, but I appreciate you, Dave, sitting down with this committee
Yep.
and trying to work this out, and the commissioners for giving you the support to make this work. Thanks very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, I will say that I have a great relationship with CATA. I spend a lot of time working with them in conjunction to providing transportation within the whole county and the center region. So, you know, we've talked about things, and they're aware of what I'm here talking about tonight, and what potentially could happen. But, you know, I appreciate them as well, because they've helped me a lot. One of my great mentors when I became director 14 years ago is in the room here tonight. It's an honor to be with him. But I was taught from him and the others that we're here to serve people. It's to do the best we can to serve the needs of the people, and that's what it's all about. So obviously everything has a cost to it, and in almost 25 years those costs have changed a lot, but we're still doing it. It is an initiative of Center County government, though. It's not a requirement. Some think it is, but the county decides to provide transportation based on the fact that they've done it for probably 45 years or so, I guess, but it's not anything that they're required to do, and sometimes people lose thought of that and think that, well, the county has to do that. No, they really don't. I mean, do I ever see that changing? Not in my lifetime, I would hope not. I think they realize the importance of it and how important it is to the needs of the people. So I talked to a guy today. It's a heart-wrenching. 61 years old, lost his job, has no transportation, lives outside of Port Matilda and has no way to get anywhere. Well, guess what he does now? He called us and we signed him up, and now we can get him places. So those are the ones that you feel good about. You help somebody today that really needed it. So, yes.
I've been very appreciative of the work that you've done with us for the meetings that we've had. And what we're thinking of is after this evening, after we have the vote, and if it does go the way we think it's going to go, the task force would like to sit down with you and talk about some of the kind of data that we'd like to receive from you. Like how many seniors are actually riding, how many people with disabilities, how many are in the third category that we're going to be paying for, so that we have a better idea when we get to the budget period in the fall. We'll have a better idea, because right now we really don't know how much this is going to cost, because we have never gotten that information from CATA, because they don't take, and this is not their fault, they just don't have demographics of their ridership. So we don't know what kind of groupings we have of people who are currently using the B line or who use CATA Go. So this is, like we said before, this will be a learning curve, not only for us, but for the county as well.
Dave,
Yes.
I see with CATA, they have Bellefonte contribution at $60,444. What does Bellefonte have to do to contribute to your business
Well,
Or is that
based
something
on
you
the
need to
paper
go
that I
over
gave
more?
you, it would be per trip, and if you budget, let's say $40,000, then you would get $40,000 worth of trips. And we would bill that on a monthly basis based on the numbers. And obviously, if we get to 10 months and I see that we're almost out of money, we have to figure out what we're going to do from there. Would that happen? Again, there's no way to know that. And to go to your discussion, your thoughts there, Joanne, we have less than 1% of full pay clients. So I can't tell you how many people are using my service that has no funding. It's very, very minimal. Most of the times it's people that are set up with a medical assistance funding and need to go somewhere other than medical, and they won't pay it. So they have to pay full fare. But our full fare is very minimal at best, that people pay the full fare, that they don't have a funding source. So the majority of those people are utilizing the Cata-Go, Cata-Ride service because it is much more economical for them. But again, it's limited, as we know, from where it used to be. But yeah, we have very, very little full pay clients. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the thought was that I think this year we had 36,000 or something in that budget. And we were hoping at one time Joanne proposed a little bit more than that. And the thought was, as I recall discussing with the committee, was we use that money, we see how it goes. At the end of the day, if it's gone, it's gone. And we'll have to make adjustments when we can.
Yeah.
This is an experiment.
Yes.
This is what we're trying to provide for our residents of Bellefonte. Will it be perfect? Probably not. But we have to start somewhere, and I look at this as a great opportunity to start somewhere. So we've budgeted $36,000 that I can recall. We're going to supplement their trips. And like Mr. Lamison discussed with this committee that I overheard was many people qualify that they don't know they qualify for assistance.
Right.
And what his office will propose to do when they interview the clients that call in, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong on this, they can tell based on the information that they
Yes.
gather from the client whether they might be supplemented by some outside source that they have no idea that they qualified for. So people who may be paying now may end up not paying a dime.
Well, and what a lot of people don't understand is there's a lot of disabilities that qualify you for our low rate, our reduced rate service of persons with disabilities. You just, if you meet the qualifications, you qualify, and it's not hard to qualify for that. A lot of things that people may think wouldn't qualify probably do. It doesn't hurt to ask. And of course, if you're 60 or older, it doesn't matter. You're a senior in Center County under our standards. So if you're 60 and older, you can ride any day. We operate for free at 60 and older. No co-pays, no nothing. So.
Any other questions from council?
I have a couple here.
Sure.
So I appreciate the task force who were working on this. Sometimes I felt we were a little bit left out as far as council, but you know, the issue I have tonight is we're sitting here and we're looking at CATA. If we don't do anything and by the Thursday this week or something, then we're going to lose that, which that doesn't bother me. But I just want to make sure that we don't lose everything. You know, like if we're able, I don't know, how long do you think it will take you to figure out how this thing might work?
A few days, once
days.
we have all the data we need. The big thing that everyone needs to understand is this is a service that I would offer to anybody that asks me for it. Not just Bellefonte Borough, but any entity that needs to contract services for individuals or residents. We're willing to set and negotiate with anyone. And it's the same rates for everyone. Nobody gets a special rate. We're not allowed to do that, obviously, therefore we don't. But our services available to anyone who's looking to provide services. If an employer came and wanted to provide services to and from work or something, we can certainly do that. So, but it wouldn't take long at all, Randy, as far as that goes. Just getting everything established that you would want in place, and the people registering with us to be consumers, yes.
Randy,
I got an email here from a resident, and it's talking about Takata, and I'm trying to find the information. If it's saying if, and this is speculation, if you were thinking about moving some of CATA funds into transportation fund to pay for borough residents to use CATA transportation or the county transportation, then you need to make sure the trips are for medical work or one trip to the grocery store or per day. Does that make sense?
Dave, when they call in for the ride, that's when this all happens, right? Hey, who are you? What's your age? Right? That's when you start collecting your data. We can go through this for hours and not really know who's going to be calling you. But you do all of the legwork and the paperwork and the data collection for us, and within weeks, we can get back with you and find out exactly how this is going. And from everything I heard, I'm not sure what Randy's question was. I didn't understand it, but from what you're telling me is there's a real good chance that we're going to have a surplus.
You could.
You know,
You could.
$36,000 sounds like
Yeah.
a lot of money to me with the amount of residents that we have that even live in the borough.
Yeah.
And after hearing what Doug said, being someone who's intimately involved with this program, we could have a surplus for next year,
You
and
might.
all of this could be for naught.
Yeah.
We're not going to know.
Could be minimal at best,
until you
yes.
get back to us, which I'm sure you will,
I
and let us
know
know.
that
But
the
it seems
people are-
very promising, very promising.
Unfortunately, we don't run the extended hours that CATA's
Yeah.
offered over the years, but we just can't do that.
I'm very sorry, but
You're
we've
fine.
got to get ready for our next
Yep.
meeting. Dave,
Yep.
thank you so very
Oh,
much.
you're welcome.
It was
My
really a
pleasure.
pleasure to have you here
And if you
tonight.
need me to come back, you know I will. I'm just up the street. It's
Great.
not far.
Thank you, sir, very
You're
much.
welcome. Thank you. Tomorrow? Yeah.
Dave,
Yes.
are you going to stay for the meeting just in case there are additional questions?
I can stay for the meeting.
I
yeah.
appreciate
Yep.
that.
Yep,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Thanks, Dave.
Welcome, everybody, to Bellefonte Borough Council Business Meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier,
Here.
Mr. Brackbill,
Here.
Ms. Cleaton, here, Ms. Dan,
Here.
Mr. Johnson,
Present.
Ms. McKean,
Here.
Ms. Purnell,
Here.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Here.
Ms. Tosti Vasey. Okay, Mr. Larson,
Here.
Ms. Meckley,
Here.
and Mayor Johnson. Thank you.
Okay, additions to the council meeting agenda. In accordance with Act 65 of 2021, if a matter is not on the agenda, council cannot take official action on it with some exceptions. The council can act on matters relating to potential or real emergencies. Council may add a matter of agency business to its agenda through a majority vote. The council should state the reason for the action item, why the action item is being added to the agenda. Council may vote to add an action item to the agenda. Are there any additions? Public comment. Borough Council intends to take public comment related to the motion that is on the floor after it has been duly made and seconded. The order of comment will be public comment and then council comments, including proposed amendments by council members. If amendments are proposed to the original motion, the public will then only comment on the amendments before the final votes are taken. You must be a Bellefonte resident, nonprofit representative, business owner, or an official representative of another governmental agency. Speakers shall identify themselves by name and street, municipality if outside the borough of Bellefonte. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Our first item is under communications. Columbia Gas will be starting the East Lynn Street gas main and service line replacements from Armour Street to Shugart Lane, beginning today, Monday, May 5th. For frequently asked questions about the Columbia Gas pipeline, you can go to our website. We do have all that information on the first page. There is no council action required on this. Center County Recycling and Refuse Authority, the April 2025 quarterly newsletter. Anybody have any questions or comments on that? Joanne, please.
Yes, I read the newsletter. I thought it was very interesting, particularly the section where it said that Bellefonte was granted $200,000 under a DEP 902 grant. And it says that covers, quote, 90% of eligible recycling program development and implementation expenses. There wasn't any details of what that meant. And so I was wondering what types of development and implementation expenses are included for our borough.
I'll let Julie applied for that grant, Joanne, so I'll let her answer that.
Those were the items that we will be purchasing soon, a screen for our compost, also some covers so that we can bag the compost, and the operation can be undercover and we can keep the compost dry for bagging, and then also some additional paving in the area for the area that the compost is currently stored on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Any other comments on that? Is that something that we have on the website or could put on the website?
Sure, we can add it to the website.
Great, thank you. Under consent agenda, all items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of council request specific items to be removed for separate action. Could I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
I'll second the motion, Brackbill.
Thank you. Any discussion? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier,
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Purnell,
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to reports. Mayor Johnson, you have some proclamations for us tonight.
Yes, I have two proclamations this evening. I have Mr. Nathaniel Rothschild. Would you like to come forward? Center Gives Days proclamation. Whereas Center Gives was established in 2012 as a 36-hour online giving event designed to bring attention to our local network of nonprofits, provide a platform for them to raise money and impart funding beside best practices. And whereas since 2012, the event has invested over $19,700,000 into our local nonprofit network, providing much needed operational support to missions of many kinds: arts, animals, education, environment, and health and social services. And whereas Center Gives began with 74 local nonprofits, 220 plus organizations will be participating in the 14th year. And whereas our community has embraced Center Gives, making over 131,500 gifts during the combined 468 total hours of this online event. Whereas we invite all community members to visit centergives.org beginning at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, May 14th, 2025, to donate to one or more of your favorite nonprofits. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Mayor Buddy Johnson of Borough of Bellefonte, Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim May 14th through 15th, 2025 as Center Gives Days in Center County, and encourage all citizens to give back to the community in any way that is personally meaningful. Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all you do.
Thanks, everyone.
Would you like to say anything?
Thank you.
We're really excited this year. We have a $500,000 stretch pool this year, which means that every dollar you donate during Center Gives is stretched that much further. So the mayor said it the best, but we hope to see you online, and you can support your favorite nonprofits. Centergives.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Secondly, a Mount Nittany Health Week proclamation. Whereas the week of May 11th through the 17th, 2025 is recognized as National Hospital Week, a time to celebrate the vital contributions of hospitals, health systems, and healthcare workers to our communities. And whereas Mount Nittany Health, with its 2,500 employees, including more than 220 providers, has provided more than 120 years of service and outstanding health care to our region. And whereas the Mount Nittany Health team is a trusted partner in bringing compassionate, expert care in serving the health care needs of our families, neighbors, and friends. And whereas Mount Nittany Health welcomes all patients, visitors, staff, providers, students, and volunteers without exception, embracing the values of teamwork and respect. And now, therefore, the Borough of Bellefonte and I, Mayor Buddy Johnson, do hereby proclaim May 11th through the 17th, 2025 as Mount Nittany Health Week. Thank you.
Yes, Joanne, thank you.
Thanks for those two proclamations. I wanted to highlight Mount Nittany Health's special relationship to Bellefonte. Mount Nittany Health was established in Bellefonte on South Spring Street on July 8, 1902. On that date, Bellefonte Hospital was created, which led to the cornerstone of healthcare services here in Center County for what would be evolved into Mount Nittany Healthcare System. So it has a special place in our heart here in Bellefonte. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. We now have Mr. Larson's report, please.
Yes, so this will be my last report, so I figured I'd take you guys through the rest of the school year. So I'll start with our senior trip, which was on April 24th through April 26th, which was in Washington, D.C. We went to an amusement park, a dinner cruise, and a baseball game. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. We had a safe driving presentation about a week ago to remind the students that can drive to be safe on the roads during prom time, prom season, end of the year. It's a very dangerous time for students on the road right now. So they just wanted to remind us to be safe. Law Day for seniors was supposed to be on May 1st, but it was canceled due to the weather and scheduling and all that stuff. So it was a little sad, but I made do. The school store trip was to Hershey, so we went to another amusement park. Underclassmen prom was on May 3rd, and senior ball will be May 17th. Senior activities overall start May 26th. I already started my countdown, so I'm really excited. And then the seniors all-night party is on May 31st. Awards night is June 3rd, and graduation is June 7th. Minithon announced that they've raised $12,400 this year. That's one of the largest donations we've made in recent times, so that was a great accomplishment. Students attended Envirothon, and we placed first place for the 3rd year in a row. And the majorettes also placed first place in their state championship. So that's all.
Nice, thank you. Mr. Larson, on behalf of the council, I'd like to thank you for being our junior council member this year. We really appreciate you being here and enjoyed it.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
Mr. Larson,
I would just
who,
like to add, I'm sorry, a
Who-
terrific representation of what our school does and provides. So thank you so much for what you do, what you have done, and being professional, and you have a super bright future ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank
like
you.
the president and mayor said, we really appreciate your enthusiasm. I was curious, who won the baseball game?
I'll be honest with you, we we left before the game was over, so
Just kidding. I'm just
I'm
kidding.
not
Don't
really
worry
sure.
about that kind of stuff.
It started raining, and we figured we might as well just get on the road and get home early, so.
Good thinking.
Thank you. Ms. Meckley, we'll look forward to seeing you all next year, too.
Thank you so much. I'm a little bit nervous to follow in Christian's amazing footsteps because he's really good at what he does, but I'm excited to get more hands in, and thank you, Christian, so much for really introducing me to this opportunity. I literally could not have done this without you, so I just want to thank you so much. You've been amazing to work with in school and in here, so just thank you for everything.
Okay, now we'll move on to a motion and a second to approve the subdivision and land development plans recommended by the Planning Commission. Could I have a motion and a second, please? We can.
So moved, Brockville.
Second, Bernier.
Is there discussion? Gina, I'll have you take the microphone. The motion was to do them both.
Yes,
but we can
Joanne,
change that.
did you have a question, or, go ahead.
My question, and I don't know if you can answer it or somebody else can answer it. The second one, it says it's a preliminary final plan for lot addition from lands of Cuz Holdings to lands of Mount Nittany Medical Center. My question is, does this mean that Mount Nittany Health plans to bring back some healthcare services to Bellefonte?
Yes, it does. And we do have Mark Seville from HRG and Bob Donahue here from Mount Nittany Medical Center. If council has questions specifically, if you've more in-depth questions than that, then I'll have them come up. But in short, yes, there will be some medical services coming to Bellefonte as part of this lot consolidation.
So do you know when that might happen?
I'll let Mr. Donahue.
We haven't even approved the motion that's in front of us for the subdivision and land division plans
Yes,
that we're
we
even
do.
talking about, right?
It's part of the discussion. Sure.
Hi, I'm Bob Donahue, the Chief Facility Management Officer for Mount Nittany Health. Our plans for this parcel is twofold. Number one, we have 3.5, almost 4 services in Bellefonte right now that have all outgrown their existing space. So we'll be relocating those tenants from East Bishop down the road to this new freestanding building. The other part of this is we're also bringing new services to Bellefonte in the form of imaging and express care, which would be an after-hours physician office. So we're very excited about this opportunity and continuing our commitment to the Bellefonte community. Happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Any others? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for these two, the preliminary final plan for Mach 1 Slalom Clubhouse is a clubhouse on Sunnyside Boulevard. They do have a storage facility there, and then this will be a small clubhouse to allow the kayak club that already exists continue to do their club activities there, just mostly changing and have something there for them. And then as Bob Donahue came up and spoke, there's a preliminary final plan for a lot addition of lands of Cuz Holdings LLC and lands of Mount Nittany Medical Center. So they are consolidating. In your packet was the land development plan, the lot consolidation plan, sorry, but there's 3 parcels that will be consolidated into one. One of those parcels will be a portion of the Cuz Holdings parcel, which is the old Armory building. And Planning Commission has recommended for approval for both of those.
Does anyone else have questions for Gina before we vote on this? Okay, thank you very much.
I know you need to vote on that. The hard meeting for next Tuesday will be canceled because there are no formal projects for review. I just felt like I should say that while I had a chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to current and old business, the Friends of Talleyrand Stage Project. Could I have a motion and a second to approve moving forward with the stage conditionally based on the cooperative agreement being drafted by the borough solicitor?
I'll make that motion, Purnell.
Thank you,
I'll
Randy.
second Brackbill.
Thank you, Randy. First, we'll have public comment on this, so if you've signed up to make public comments on this particular item, please come up to the podium.
Thanks again for having us. I think it was March we were here, and it was a more elaborate presentation. I tried to just tone it down and get to the high points. There you go. This is just a very abbreviated history. December of 2021, we signed a cooperative agreement to move ahead with this project. In May of 2022, we put out a formal request for bid decided that that was more than we needed. We talked to our architects. They kept pretty much the front part of the stage that faces the park, and that blue block building is where the snow cone Pelican building is right now. It won't be part of this plan. So we've worked with members of council and our team to come up with what we hope will be a cooperative agreement and to move forward. And there's a checklist of things that we will complete before we have it. So we've been busy. It's taken a long time. It's probably be done by now. We've responded to issues raised. We have cleared the project with PennDOT, and we have cleared the project with DEP. Members of DEP came to the site about 6 weeks ago and walked through. So we're hopeful we can get council's approval and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak about this stage? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I will.
Hi, my name is Kevin Boyd. I'm the owner of Big Spring Spirits over at the National Christian Bellefonte.
Hi, Kevin. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. 10 years ago, I was looking to find a site for my distillery, and I only went to Houston College at that time. And I found that to be a very hostile environment, and not able to assist as I expanded my search back into Bellefonte. And what I found was a government partnership, something that I couldn't find, for example, in State College. I met with all the stakeholders in local government. I explained my project, and to a person, we went around the table, and they all agreed that they would help me in my business. And I'm very thankful for that then, and I continue to be that now. My point in saying all this is that I found a real partnership here in Bellefonte. It's not easy to start a business and continue to run a business, and I'm very thankful for everything that I've found. A lot of times government gets in the way of projects, and I'm not really sure why that is. For example, we hear about rebuilding out in LA up to a year to get a permit just to rebuild your house. What I'm saying is that this project, I think, would be a significant asset to Bellefonte, not only in and of itself, but to all the other things that it brings. It brings people to stay at our bed and breakfast, to stay at our, eat at our restaurants, and hopefully to buy cocktails as well. So I think this is a great opportunity to improve our town and to support our local businesses, which increasingly is harder and harder these days to make ends meet. So appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Holly Wilson, did you want to speak tonight? Tom Wilson, do you?
I just want to say that I'm glad we're finally at this point to make some decision. We've been working pretty hard on this for about 5 years, and this is a group that got together just because they believe in Bellefonte, they believe in trying to make it better, and they want to gift this project to the borough, and we've set up a fund that the borough, we want you to be partners but not financially involved. So we hope that we can do this in the process of doing some research on this kind of thing in other boroughs. I discovered that there's a whole lot of community bands around Pennsylvania. So hopefully what I'd like to try to do, if we can move this forward, is to create a community band weekend in Bellefonte and then do that as an annual event and have a new annual event that we can all be proud of. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom. Is there anybody else that would like to speak about the stage? I received 2 emails, so I guess this would go under public comment, so I'll go ahead and read these now. First one is from Mr. Fritz Smith, who is the president and CEO of Happy Valley Adventure Bureau. Dear President Dan, I understand that Borough Council intends to hold a vote regarding Talleyrand Park Bandshell project on Monday night. Though I will be out of town on a long-planned trip, I would like to formally submit for the record the support of the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, the Tourism Promotion Agency for Center County, for the initiative. The bandshell ticks so many boxes for Bellefonte: more family-friendly activities for both residents and visitors, support and an outlet to play for our region's growing music scene and its artists, and the economic stimulus that its construction would provide. We believe the careful work that the committee has developed and the architectural renderings submitted thus far are complementary to and support the already visually pleasing landscape at Talleyrand Park. The addition of this amenity will be something we can be proud of. On behalf of our 381 member businesses throughout Center County, I respectfully urge the borough to support the bandshell project. Sincerely, Fritz Smith. I also had an email today from Representative Benninghoff. I am writing to offer my support for your board to give the stage at Talleyrand a positive vote to move forward. It has been over 2 years since we were able to secure a $1 million Department of Community and Economic Development grant. There are other projects along this corridor, such as the pending hotel, that I believe will benefit from having the stage at Talleyrand, as well as the cultural and tourism efforts of the downtown. I believe this new facility will not only add quality to the types of musical productions, but add a higher level of quality and professionalism to our musical venues. Sincerely, Carrie Benninghoff. Can we have discussion by council now, please?
I say just go with it. Simple as that.
I would agree. Anybody else have anything, questions, comments? Shall we have a vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yay. And I believe you have already spoke with Mr. Solicitor Stover, or you're going to, about getting that underway, correct?
Yes, I have spoken with him, and
Okay.
I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Great, thank you very much. Council chambers, there is a potential room reconfiguration to enhance meeting experiences and acoustics. This will be an ongoing project over the next few months to find the best solution. There is no council action needed at this time, but Mr. Johnson, would you care to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, we met with, Julie, myself, and Alyssa met with a gentleman that Rick Jacobs was so kind to refer to us at no cost. He's a longtime designer or sound engineer at Eisenhower Auditorium. He's retired, and he offered his services free for the acoustics in this room, which, in my opinion, are pretty poor at this moment. So he came in, met with us. We plan to meet sometime in the first week of June. We've had some preliminary discussions of what we might change to make it a better environment for everybody. It may cost us some additional money to what we've already spent, but we have such a fine facility that we think, or at least I think I'm only one person on council, I think it's important that we improve what we have here, make it a little more personable than what it is now. If you look into our audience, or 30 yards away from us, I think we can do a little bit better with the design of the room, not only acoustically, but more comforting to the attendees and the council members. So we're waiting to hear when we might schedule that next meeting in June.
Great, thank you. Thank you for all your work and getting that underway.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anybody have any questions for Doug? Okay, our community development block grant for the Talleyrand Park Suspension Bridge project. The agreements are from 2022, 2023, and 2024. Could I have a motion and a second to approve these agreements?
So moved, Clayton?
Second, Brackville.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackville?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
She took off. There she is.
I did. Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Nick Schaefer, Trans Associates, provided an estimate of approximately $300,000 for the traffic light construction at the intersection of Zion Road and Parkview Boulevard. There is no council action requested at this time. CATA Services, 2025-26. Could I have a motion and a second to remove Bellefonte Borough from CATA Services effective July 1st, 2025?
So moved, Brackville.
Seconded, Clayton?
Okay, we're opening this up for public comment. If you're here to speak about this part with getting rid of CATA Services, now would be your time.
If you could, press the button there in the middle, and the green light will come on.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. I'm Sharon Weiser. I live on Pine Street.
Did the green light come on?
Did the green light come on, Shannon?
Yes.
Sharon?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Sharon Weiser from Pine Street. I wish I could speak it as eloquently as Doug Johnson did earlier, but I'll do my best about this. Thank you to David Lomason for listening to our needs for public transportation and for coming up with this solution. Thank you to Debbie Clayton, Joanne Tosti-Vasey, Julie Brooks, and everyone who attended Public Transit Task Force meetings since last July to research what is available to us, which included talking with CATA staff, elected county and Commonwealth officials, and other municipalities. Today, I met with members of our community at the Faith Center and at the Trinity United Methodist Church, where free lunch was being provided. Anecdotally, improved public transportation is needed for people to get to and from work, grocery stores, and appointments. And oddly, a lot of the people I saw today are kind of out of the loop on what we're doing, so I will personally work on how to get people more involved and finding out what council is doing, and especially on this topic that I personally need public transportation. So I hope you will vote yes to removing us from CATA services and establishing services through Center County Transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate that. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this? Council, discussion. Any discussion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
Center County Transportation. Can I have a motion and a second to establish transportation through the Center County Transportation for Bellefonte Borough residents beginning July 1st, 2025?
So moved.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Shauna. Discussion. Actually, any more public comment on that?
There we go. Okay, Rachel and Daniel Drive. So I do have some questions because I know we've previously used the Center County Transport, but at the time when funding sources changed, it was then sort of informed that to go to any ride would be $25 per way. Is that still accurately reflecting?
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
My husband at one point was trying to get 2 medical appointments, and he was told that after his insurance had changed that it would be $25 for a one-way trip to go to that medical appointment.
If he has no insurance, then that would be correct, yes.
Okay, so that's a struggle because as somebody who is in that 18 to 59, 18 to 60 age range, $25 to go to one appointment is insanely expensive. So that's something that really should be bared in mind because the people that need this service are probably not currently using it because they can't afford that. They can't afford it to go to medical appointments. They can't afford it to take their kids to medical appointments. They can't afford that to get to work. Also, the limitation of ending at 4 is hard, especially if you have anybody that works until 9 o'clock. If you have anybody that works overnight shift, because there are some places they're still overnight shift. And that is something to keep in mind when you guys are making up and figuring out and determining this criteria is, one, not everybody uses standard working hours. It's nice to be 9 to 5, but not everyone is. But also, there are going to be people that need this service that have been lost it from CATA that aren't going to be part of your demographic and your research because they're not using it because they can't afford it now. So they're not going to know, and they're not going to reach out, and they're going to think, oh, what's the point? I was already told it's $25 one way. I can't, pay that every single day to go to work or go to appointments. Then the other question is people that have kids that need to take their kids to appointments, who one last minute, sick kid, you can't exactly foretell that. But also, how are you going to handle in that sense, if you have a parent that needs to take a kid, or a parent that has, needs it, and their child needs to go with them, because right now, that's also another struggle. Or even, if somebody needs to go with a person, but they're not a caregiver, that is a struggle with the current Center County sort of transport that I believe that you're talking about. So these are things to keep in mind as you're going forward to set these criteria. Because they are something that's...
Excuse me, Rachel, your time is up. I did notice on here you're not a Bellefonte resident.
No, but some of our taxes do go to pay for the Bellefonte School District and things like this.
I understand that, but this is just for Bellefonte residents, is that
okay? But these are still things to keep in mind.
Thank you, I
as you're going
appreciate
forward.
that. Thank you so very much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Council discussion. Joanne.
I'll turn it on. Thank you. Has one of the co-chairs of the Bellefonte Public Transportation Task Force, I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody who has worked on this since last July. First and foremost, Deb Cleaton, Hugh Mose, who provided us with his long-term knowledge of public transportation, Kathy Evie for her input on the needs of Benner Township, community residents Dorothy Neft, Donald Townsend, and Sharon Reiser for their ridership input and their conversations with other community members over this time, Jim Proant for his knowledge about and contacts at both Geisinger and Mount Nittany Health, and his input on the need for public transportation for people with disabilities, and Julie Brooks for her administrative assistance and follow-up work between meetings throughout this process. In addition, I'd like to thank the offices of Representative Benninghoff, Representative Takak, and Senator Dush. Thank you for listening to our needs for public transit and for your periodic participation in our meetings. Second, members of the public who participated in the public hearings that we held to inform us of their needs for public transportation. Dave Lomason, the director of the Center County Transportation Program, he's been working with us to create this plan for public transit that meets our needs for the near future at what we believe is an affordable cost to our residents and Bellefonte Borough. As Barb pointed out, this program is just for the residents of Bellefonte. It will not include Benner or Spring Township. This plan creates a way for people needing to use the transit to know that they will have affordable and reliable access more than one day in advance throughout the county for work and health care. I'd like to thank Doug Johnson for setting up the meeting that we had with Dave Lomason that helped us to create this plan, and finally to all the members of this council who have patiently waited for this presentation this evening. The Transit Task Force plans for the near future are to work with Dave Lomason on assisting the public in learning how to gain access to and use this replacement service for public transit. We also need a long-term resolution, including grant funds for a transit development plan for the Bellefonte area. We will be updating you on the long-term transit planning at a later date.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yes.
I'd just like to reiterate what Dave has been talking about. This is a countywide service. This is what we're doing here in Bellefonte is basically an experiment for our residents in Bellefonte, but what we're doing would be available to any municipality to try out. Benner Township can do this, Spring Township can do this. All the municipalities that don't have other transit options can work with the Office of Transportation and figure out a cooperative agreement so that the residents are covered. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Any other questions or comments before we vote? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackville?
Yes.
Ms. Clayton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Yes, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Loading and unloading on Spring Street memo. Could I have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation from LTAP Mark Hood for the South Spring Street loading and unloading zone?
I will make that motion, Johnson.
Second, Brackville.
Thank you. Is there discussion on this? Doug, I did have one question on this. What is next? We're approving the recommendations, so what happens next? Do we do an ordinance? Does that go to streets? What happens with that?
We'll just turn it over to the streets department, and Matt will, he'll get the markings done. Probably when they do this, street painting, it'll be done at that time.
Okay.
We'll get some signage put up, and then also do the same thing with the parking space over on the other side for the handicap parking space.
Okay. There was no mention of a time limit for loading and unloading. Will that be in an ordinance?
I think I think we have it listed from 5 to 8 or 9 right now, don't we? 5 to 8? 5 to 8. That'll be on the signage.
Okay, so this is more than just approve, because that was not in the recommendation. Is that, unless I missed it, the time? The time, I'm sorry, the time for
Loading
what?
and unloading.
Loading and unloading is just 5 to 8? Okay. Joanne?
So I walked by there today, and I noticed in the outline is that there would be 4 spaces removed. First of all, is that correct?
We're not removing any spaces. The spaces will still be single parking spaces. They just will, there will be no parking from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. So if someone comes in at 9 o'clock, the trucks should be out of there and the parking
Okay.
spaces available to the
Okay.
public.
The second question then, are we turning that one handicap space into a regular parking space, or will it remain?
We are turning that into a regular parking space and moving the handicap space over to the
Parking lot.
parking lot, which we think is a safer anyway for,
Okay, and there will be a total of 3 handicap parking spaces in that lot, based on what Julie said about the number of spaces that we need. Is that correct?
yeah. I know that there'll be 2 down by Cherry Lane, and there may be one other one. I think it's right by the waffle shop. So yes, there'll be 3 in that lot.
Great, thank you.
I still have a problem with the time on this. It's a very small amount of time for a very large store that serves a lot of our residents. I'm wondering have we talked to people at Dollar General, the manager, to find out if that's going to even work for them?
Julie has talked to them, and for the most part, she said that my understanding is it will work for some, but it's going to come down. They said they're going to have people that are going to come in after 8 o'clock, and it really comes down to an enforcement issue. If we enforce it, they might, that would be what would change their behavior, but other than that, there's really nothing you can do unless you want to change the hours, which that's up to you.
Julie, did you want to weigh in on that at all?
I don't really have anything further unless you had
Okay.
additional questions.
Okay. I think it makes it, and I said this before, it does make it hard for businesses when we make it very difficult for them to get their products.
I will say that I think it was last week, there was a truck that was there late, like maybe 5, 6 o'clock. But they were pulled on where they should be, where those parking spaces are going to be. But that's the only one I ever seen there. It's
Right.
not that
I
usual.
don't monitor that, so I don't know for sure. But
So I was thinking we can monitor, since it's in the ordinance, find out what kind of violations we might have of that. And if needed, we have the ad hoc ordinance committee that we could have them look at it.
we could look at that too.
Yeah, I would say that the downside to expanding the hours is then you're going to lock up those parking places in front of the current businesses that are there, which then, they might come back and say, I don't have parking in front of my business because it's, you've just increased the hours. So it's a...
Right, I understand that. So how many of the next business, which I believe is Bell Mercantile, how many spots will be taken in front of them? I did not walk by that.
Well, that's where the 3 spaces are, Barb. The 3 spaces would be from Dollar General down to in front of Bell Mercantile.
Okay.
But it isn't going to affect them if the loading and unloading takes place during the timeline that's in our current ordinance.
Barb, when I walked across there today, 2.5 spaces are in front of the Dollar General. The other 1.5 are in front of Bell Mercantile, if that helps.
Okay, that helps, yes.
What's a half a parking spot? Just for small cars, apparently. Small cars?
So if council did decide to change the times, we would have to go through an ordinance at this point. Okay. So approving this is part of the procedure. Any other discussion on this? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Bernier?
Yes.
Mr. Brackbill?
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton? Yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Purnell?
Yes.
Ms. Sedgwick?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have no new business tonight. We are now open for public comment regarding issues that are not on the agenda. Would anybody like to speak? Council members, for the good of the order. Ms. Purnell.
I actually have something this evening. First, it's just a community service announcement. We have a wayward recycling bin over at Bellefonte Area School District Central Office that came in from the storm last week. It is labeled Apartment 2. I'm guessing it probably came from either up Allegheny Street or somewhere on Lynn Street. I don't know. Somebody suggested it might even blown in from Milesburg, but I think that's a stretch. But anyway, so if it's anybody's recycling bin and they'd like to have it back, they can just contact me and I'd be happy to get it back to them. Also, I had a question about when patching work would be done on East Beaver Street from the sewer line work. I don't know if anybody here knows that answer.
I don't know. I'll have to, I can check with Matt and get back to you the next meeting on that.
Yeah, some of the holes are kind of deep-ish, so if people aren't paying attention,
They can at least get out and maybe put some more stone in or put some cold patch in until they actually do the restoration.
I think I was told that was what they were going to do, was put cold patch in it, but
I'll check. I'll get to it, but I was going to mention with the storm and the cleanup, it's put the street department behind.
And I totally get that. Yeah, thank you. That's all.
Great, thank you. Joanne.
Yes, as I said, I took a long walk today, and on the waterfront walkway, at the area where the steps are, there's the half wall between the steps and the back wall. That is in very serious bad shape. The caps are falling down, they're broken. We need to get them fixed because they're actually falling into the pathway, and it really looks bad, and I think we need to get fixed before somebody gets hurt on the edges where it's broken. And it's at least 6 different places.
We have someone working on restoration of the wall around Big Spring. I'll see if that's part of it, Joanne. And if not, maybe we can get a price for it.
Randy.
I have nothing to report, but I'm happy with what we've got done today, so thank you.
No, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, the second Saturday in May, so this week, May 10th, is the food drive day to leave donations next to your mailbox, and the postal carriers will pick that up. This is a great way to provide donations to our local food banks, which are greatly needed. So that's Saturday, May 10th. Just leave something by your mailbox. Thank you.
When I spoke with Representative Benninghoff today, he also wanted me to pass on that a big thank you to our road crews. He had 3 trees that fell down in his yard. I had them partially cleaned up, came home that evening, and everything was cleaned up and gone. So he just wanted to make sure that we knew that our road crews have done a really good job throughout this storm. I also want to say hi to Rick Haynes, who apparently watches our meeting every Tuesday morning. So hi, Rick.
Just quickly, I wanted to mention there was so much CDBG paperwork in your packet this evening that I wanted to mention that Mitzi and Matt Milliron called me last week. They were having their annual state conference for CDBG this week, and they were highlighting the pedestrian walkway along in Talleyrand Park along the bridge. So that was the highlighted project for the state, which I was happy to hear that. And then I just wanted to follow up with you, Mr. Larson, and say congratulations on graduation and wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors, and thank you for everything you've done for Bellefonte Borough.
Thank you.
I'm with Barb. I had several comments of the cleanup after the storm. People were very pleased. I know there's still some residuals along the streets, but the borough staff has been extremely busy taking care of day-to-day activities and squeezing in the storm cleanup. I'd also like to thank Chief Whitmer for supplying us with data on McAllister Street. I know the sign continues to collect. I think Julie has forwarded that information along to Mark Hood so we can proceed of how we might mitigate the concerns on McAllister and High Street. And Mr. Larson, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully, if you move back to Bellefonte or stay in Bellefonte, you may be sitting in one of these seats someday, so you'll have some experience. I appreciate all you've done for us here.
Thank you.
I'd just like to remind everyone that the AAUW used book sale is coming up Mother's Day weekend. It will be Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of that weekend.
I have nothing tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Bernier. Okay, can I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
all
sorry.
good. I just want to say thank you to everyone for their kind words. I do still look forward to seeing you all one last time at the next meeting, so thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. Yes.
I'm so sorry. I would just like to say a quick thank you for approving the stage project. As a performer and a lover of the arts, this is an amazing opportunity for current performers to thrive and future performers to thrive, and I'm just really excited to see where this goes, so thank you so much.
Great. Thank you for weighing in on that. Very nice. Could I have a motion and a second to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second, Brack.
All in favor,
The
say aye.
usuals.